basic idea of where the proportion would be. Usually when I'm painting a profile or somebody looking off to one side, I'll usually leave a little more space on the side they're looking. And the reason is that I'm a traditional painter, I'm not modern, and I don't really care to crop things most of the time. Now sometimes I would, but most of the time I don't. And the reason is that when I'm doing a painting, I like to get a feeling of space and depth and atmosphere. And if you start cropping parts of the head off the edge, it begins to look flat. You begin to get a flat design, and that's not what I want. I try to get a feeling of depth, which is more traditional concept in painting. If you look at the old masters, that's basically what they have. All right, now, right now, I know that the head is going to be like that, and then I have a distance down here for the neck, and I'm not blocking in things, and then I keep adjusting. I block things in very loosely. Now what I'm looking for is some basic design of the shapes. And over there, the proportions are also very important. Over here, I'm looking for the center of the face as you would see it on a 3/4 view, which this is. I never start with the details first. I'm just looking for the basic forms, you know. And what I try to do when I'm painting is see the abstract forms that exist in reality. Now I'm saying that partially because everybody knows me as a realist. So you're probably thinking, why is he saying abstract? Well, I'll tell you why. Because everybody is unique, everybody is different, and every situation is different, and the lighting varies on everybody. So whenever you're painting someone, it's a unique situation. So what you have to do, in my opinion, is look for those shapes and tones that are unique to this person. So you can't follow the dictates of anatomy book. Anatomy helps, but you have to go more by the specific shapes that you see in reality. And when you look at those, they're always different, and that's why I say that they would be abstract. It's not like this is the way to paint the nose, but I'm looking at the shade under the nose. I'm looking at, let's say, the placement of the mouth. I don't see certain shapes that you might have in a preconceived formula about how to do a face. I'm more concerned about looking at this particular face. And the thing I keep doing is adjusting. Probably it's good I'm not a watercolor artist, because in oil you can make adjustments all the time. You know, I make a lot of mistakes. So this way I can correct them as I go. Now I'm lining up the ear, for example, and the ear is about in the middle of the eye horizontally. The bottom of the ear is about where the upper part of the lip is, you see. So I've got that lined up. I also try to see the space, let's say, between the hairline and the eye. I will also be concerned about the fact that there is a breakup of light and dark from top to bottom. And you tend to have a little bit of a tone crossing the face. Now I'll keep adjusting this drawing as I go before I really start painting with much color. And even when I start painting with color, I will still keep drawing. In other words, I still keep observing and I still keep correcting. I never stop drawing and correcting until the final detail is put in the painting. See, the painting has gotten a little bigger. The neckline, I brought it down a little bit because I just made a measurement. And I still might make changes. Now, one of the things that I learned from my father, who many of you probably know is an artist, is that a big artist uses a big brush. So I'm trying to use a big brush. And he learned that at the National Academy of Design in 1920, his teacher at that time was Charles Hawthorne. And he said, a big artist uses a big brush. So he kept repeating it all the time. And then I mentioned it to one of my students. And one of my students came to me and said, you know, they read that in a book by Charles Hawthorne. And here I was giving my father all the credit. Now, of course, the tone on the panel here is kind of a gray, and it tends to be a little lighter. And I prefer working with the darks first to get the basic drawing. Now I'm going to start blocking in, but that doesn't mean I've stopped drawing. See, I'm just getting gray tones and just blocking in tones. I'm not that fussy at this point about the color, but I don't want colors and tones to jump out of place. Now I'm starting to build into the color a little more, and I'm putting in some of the skin tones, but I hesitate to put it in too bright because I don't want it to jump out of place yet. And to thin the paint at this point, I'm starting to use linseed oil. See, the process of oil painting, for me anyhow, is building paint upon paint. In case you're interested, I like to use these Raphael brushes. Number 6 is the one I'm using now. I was using number 4 before. And this is, I don't know, it's called Paris 3572. That's the number. And I recommend this to my students because I like what the brush can do. You see what I mean? Is that it? Didn't you read?
Oh, no. We have
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can see how the way this is developing now, I'm beginning to get much more of a structure that is closer to a feeling of sculpture. And that's the way I like to think about this. Like when you do some sculpture, you're not going to put in the eyelashes and the nostrils before you have the basic structure of the head. And that's what I'm trying to bring out. And too many people in painting start working on details and then slavishly try and stick with the details, but they miss the total organization of the form. Now see here, I put down a tone over here. I see that's wrong, at least for now, because this color is not the same as this color or value. So I'm going to put in a little more of the green, mix them with some of the other dirty colors on the palette. And see, then it'll stay more in place. Of course, as I develop this, you know, I'll fine-tune the color as I go. Now, in order for these lights to look correct, you see on the model, the lights are pretty light. I've got to put in a little more of a tone for the background, so then I can see these lights doing its job. Otherwise, this will distract, and the whole painting will get to look a little too linear. By linear, I mean it'll be looking like it's got light and dark lines, and the middle tones will be missing. So I'm just going to get a bigger brush. Okay. Okay, now the background has a nice, soft, cool gray. Not too cool, not too warm. So I'm going to get kind of a mixture there. See what happens. Okay, that's a little too warm. So I'm going to make it a little cooler. I might even use a touch of black. I don't usually like to use black. You see, so when I look at this, there's a relationship to the light. Now, of course, the fact is that the shade here is much more transparent on her, and I will be working on that also, because this dark is not so dark compared to that tone in the background. The hair is darker compared to the background. Now, one of the things I can do is also make the background a little darker, so then this light stands out more, and then this dark doesn't look so dark. So it's a matter of getting some kind of a happy medium. So, but you can see how everything relates to something else. Sometimes, you know, I have students and they say, you know, I'm trying to get this lighter on the forehead. I can't get it lighter. How can you get it lighter? They're using practically white already. So, what's the answer? What? That's right. The answer is, you've got to make something else darker to make that other thing look lighter. Everything is a relationship. Art, painting is like life. It's all a question of a relationship. That's it? Okay. So, that's the beginning. And I don't know, maybe it's the light or maybe my drawing is wrong, but I'm starting to feel a little warm. So it could be a combination. Yeah, let me turn around so I don't...